Right, I wasn't going to film this one because I didn't have a clue what I was doing, but I think this could be interesting, so I've decided to film it. So we've got a Guitar Heroes PlayStation 3 guitar. Let's plug the battery back in, and this is the trouble we have. If you can see them lights, it is syncing with the PlayStation. Let me hide them. So you can see it's synced on channel 2 of the PlayStation, but all the other lights keep flickering on and off. So you can't really control the PlayStation. If you hold your finger down on one of the buttons, on this board the arrow controls up here. If you hold your finger down, it will eventually start working. See, it's turned itself off again now. So if I hit this button, turn it back on. Right, so we've already stripped it apart, so let's get into problem solving this one. Right, hi, I'm Lee, welcome back to the channel. We're not really problem solving actually. I did an internet search, couldn't find any videos or anything about this. Maybe there are some out there, but I did find one page that had exact same problem, and it basically said change out the capacitors, and there's only really a couple on here, so I'm just going to disconnect this battery again. Get that out of the way. Let's remove this board a minute. Right, so here we have the main guts of the guitar. That part's your whammy bar down there. This part is your strumming bit there, and this is like the control board that sits up there that has your arrow keys on it and your PlayStation button, sync button. So I've gone around this board, couldn't really see much. I mean, there's loads of glue in there. I was wondering whether that was glue had become conductive, because some old glue they use can be conductive, but I don't think this isn't old enough for that sort of glue. So I quickly tested that. That seems alright. And like I say, I searched on the internet and found literally one thing that said about changing the capacitors, which are these two here. We have a 10 volt, was it 10 volt 220 microfarad capacitor, and I think it's a 47. That's a 16 volt 47 microfarad capacitor. Zoom in on them. Not sure whether it's going to focus there. No, and they've written down the sides as well. Not sure whether you can see that. You can see the 10 volts. There you go, 220. And then this one, I'm not sure what you can see there. I think that's a 16 volt 47 microfarad. So just going to take these out of the board. I did test it on my cheap ESR reader, and in circuit it was reading that it was it 2.5 on the ESR. Now I've got this little chart out here. It's not dead accurate. I think there's loads of different variations of this chart, but a 10 volt capacitor at 220 microfarads should have a ESR reading the worst value, I think that is 0.6, and in circuit it's reading 2.5. So we're gonna check that. I have already dug out a couple of spares because I have these in a little jar that have come out of other electronics. They are now sorted out a bit more into little shelves. So that one there we have got a exact replacement, 10 volts 220 microfarad, and this one, I think this one's oh no, it's not exact, that's a 25 volt. Don't know if you can see that. That's a 25 volt 47 microfarad. So they're the ones we're going to be putting in. And if I put them into my cheap ESR meter, this is the 47 microfarad one. Yeah, 47 microfarads. I mean, that's ESR is saying 2.6. But what was that? That was 25 volts at 47. See, that should be saying 0.9. So I don't know whether this is exactly right. That chart could be an absolute load of rubbish. So this was 10 volts at 220 microfarads. See, and that one is reading better. That's 200 reading 210 microfarads. This isn't accurate on that. This isn't that brilliant. But the ESR is 0.74. I wonder if I've got another one of these 47 microfarads. Yes, this one's a different one. This is the same 25 volts, different make. It is 25 volts, 47 microfarads. Stick that in there. So we know that one's good. See, and that ESR is down on 1, which is close to what this is saying, 25 volts, 47, 0.9, and that's reading 1. So that's, yeah, close enough. I mean, these are used capacitors, so if I had new ones, I'd put new ones in there, but I just want to test this. Don't want to go and buy some if this doesn't work. Right, so I'm just going to disconnect this, give me a bit of space, and then we'll desolder the caps, test them out the board, see what they read, and replace them. Board's free, a little bit easier to work on. Put that somewhere safe. Right, so these are the two capacitors of interest. So on the back, we can flip it over. It's these two pins this side, and then those two over there. So let's just get these caps out. My solder socket is absolutely knackered. I need a new one. Not even sucking that thing. Nah, that's absolutely knackered. Making a right meal of this. Just trying to grab it from the other side of the board and wiggle it out now. One out. Capacitor's getting bloody hot. Right, that's that one out. Oh, I made a meal of that, that's for sure. Just gonna clean these holes up a bit now, X out. Right, let's just see if we can measure these two old components. I don't know if the legs are long enough to get in here. Let's find out. Nope. Right, let's just try and put some wires in here on 1 and 2. Now if I hold them to the legs. Right, let's hold these on the legs, see what comes up now. So that's saying 220 and 7.5 ohms now, it's out the board. Don't know whether using these wires will make much difference or not. Let's try that smaller one again. Yeah, so 58 2.6, that's what that one was showing when we put it into the bars. So that capacitor looks like it's well gone. So now the test to see if these will make any difference. They are a little bit larger, but I'm sure there's plenty of room inside that guitar. So we'll start with the 241, which was on this side. Make sure you remember where the minus goes. Minus goes on the white part there. Both minuses were towards the power connector. Straighten these legs and sort them holes out. Right, the hole just seems to have something in it. And the legs through. Ow. Finally, the legs through there. Let's get some solder on that quick. One on there, nice and crooked. Now let's put the 47 microfarad one in. Straighten these legs up a bit. Right, let's get this one on. I'll rip the solder pad off of there because I'm an idiot. Right, so there we go. That's our capacitors in now. I did end up ripping a pad off the back of there, but it has got some copper on the front, so the solder's flowed through and it's connected to the front. That's well in there. It's not going anywhere. These things happen if you do rip a copper pad off. You can sometimes trace the traces, and you can connect the leg up to somewhere else. But fortunately, this has got some copper on the front side of the board, and the solder's gone through and connected there. Right, so let's just put this all back together now and see what happens. That's it. Now all we have to do is test it. Right, so here we are. We've got it synced. We've just got the red light on. Nothing strange flashing about. See on the screen, everything's moving up and down. Our cursor keys are still working. Up, down, left, right. So that's all good. Then our buttons on the neck. Green is the select button, that's working. We know our sync button's working, which is the PlayStation button. If we hold our finger down on it in a second, we'll do it now. There we go. Comes up with quick game or controller settings or turn the system off. The red is our back button, so that's all working. Now, I'm not going to show you playing a game because I've shown that on another video. But if you go into the game, you can check the other buttons are working as soon as it loads up. But that is it. Another electronic item saved from landfill. Now this one was probably from a car boot, I think. Could have been from a charity shop. I usually only pay like a maximum of £5 for these. They are worth about probably 30 with no dongle. The dongles, people with the PlayStation ones always lose the dongles. I have got a spare one that I found at a car boot that I just now use for testing these. So this will sell without the dongle. But yeah, another item not going to landfill, and all for the sake of these tiny 2 capacitors that I'll have a look online, but these are going to cost you pennies. You can buy packs of capacitors, like 100 capacitors, for probably sort of 10-20 quid, that have all different valued capacitors in there. But you could go to any electronics shop online, like RS Components, Farnell, CPC. They literally cost pennies. You're going to have to probably buy a pack of 5 or 10, and you know, pay a few quid plus your postage. So unless you're doing a few of them, it could get a bit more expensive. What I tend to do, what I tend to do, if you have things that don't work or aren't worth anything, you can take these boards out and you can pretty much get most of the capacitors you need and stuff off of these. You usually find them in there. I mean, the old guy that used to own this house, in his garage, like I say, it's like he did this for I don't know what he did for a living, but he just loved stripping down stuff, and there's jars of capacitors left. Yeah, they're probably old and might not last as long as new ones, but you can use them free for testing stuff. So don't always throw stuff out that's got loads of capacitors and resistors and stuff on, because they do come in handy. So that's it. Thanks for watching. Give me a thumbs up, give me a thumbs down if you must, give me a good comment, give me a bad comment if you must. Another item saved from landfill. What more can you say? That's probably like 20p to fix that. And if I was doing this without filming it and everything else, you'd probably have that done in about 20 minutes. So it's worth a bit of time. But yeah, thanks for watching. Hopefully I'll see you in the next one.